Years have passed, yet I still cannot forget that feeling. A terrifying predator struck without warning, everything spiraled out of control, and one of my teammates was badly injured. Today's hunt is not about glory or trophies, it is about facing the greatest challenge, tracking down a creature that has become a legend, the mountain lion. Armed with compasses, GPS devices, and rifles, our team knew the road ahead would be brutal. Stay with us as we brace ourselves for the heart-pounding moments to come. Our tactical plan was quickly put into motion, defend to strike back, the whole team on high alert. After all, mountain lions are apex predators, agile, cunning, and extremely dangerous. A single mistake could mean defeat. Just then, the GPS gave off a sharp signal. The target had appeared. We carefully moved toward it. Our pack of hounds quickly encircled the base of a tree. Through the scope, I spotted it, the cold-blooded hunter perched on a high branch. I raised my rifle. One precise shot, and the beast was down. Keeping our distance was the only way to stay safe. At close range, a mountain lion can leap down and strike in an instant. I exhaled in relief. This hunt was going to test us to the very limit. Snow kept falling thicker, making movement difficult. But for our hounds, it was no obstacle. In no time, they picked up the scent again. John raised his binoculars, scanning from afar. Another lion had been cornered up in a tree. The dogs barked furiously, urging me to fire. I steadied my breath, locked my sights, and squeezed the trigger. Boom! Snow exploded into the air as the bullet struck. The lion collapsed, hanging from the branch. Another prize trophy, lifting the morale of the whole team. Following fresh tracks, our hounds quickly found the next target. John stayed laser-focused. Through my scope, I saw it, a lion perched in the distance. John raised his rifle, aimed high into the treetops, and fired. A sharp, decisive shot rang out. Another predator took him down. On this hunt, we vowed not to let a single marauder escape. Every one of them would pay for what they had done. Before we could rest, the GPS signaled again. Another lion had been detected. Today was turning into a harvest of predators. We followed the tracks etched into the snow, closing in on its location. I spotted it through the binoculars. Sensing danger, the lion bolted. This time, we couldn't let it get away. Closing in fast, chaos erupted, dogs barking, snow flying. The lion tried to hide but could not escape our aim. Boom! From a high branch, the savage beast crashed down into the snow. The sight alone was enough to make your pulse race. The chase spread deeper into the forest.
Oh yeah.
On the other side, Jack and John scouted the jagged cliffs, forcing us to tread carefully. But again, our dogs proved unstoppable. Before we even caught up, they had already cornered another lion. Without hesitation, Jack raised his bow, drew back, and released. The arrow struck clean. The target fell instantly. We pressed on. My heart hammered as I spotted a shadow perched on a dead branch. I steadied my breath, fought the adrenaline. The target was locked. Carefully calculated shots tore through the air. The bullet hit its mark. Another marauder eliminated. Hunting mountain lions is no simple task. It demands skill, courage, and the seamless coordination of the entire team. The sun dipped lower. The last lion emerged, hidden among the trees. It had no idea it had walked into a trap. I gripped my rifle, held my breath, and pulled the trigger. Crack! The beast collapsed motionless. The long, grueling hunt had reached its end. At last, the tense pursuit was over. The final lion fell, restoring peace to our village. Though the pain and wounds of our comrade remain, we had protected our home, allowing our loved ones to live safely again. Now, only the silence of the forest remained, and the relief of a mission accomplished. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Goodbye, and see you on the next adventure.
Have you ever wondered how thrilling it would be to hunt wild boars with a bow and arrow? No deafening gunfire, no long-range advantage, just me, my bow, and a massive beast lurking deep in the forest. This time, I'm facing the largest wild boar I've ever encountered, a true giant with razor-sharp tusks and a thick, rugged coat. A single mistake, and I could become the hunted instead of the hunter. But can just one arrow be enough to take down this formidable beast? Watch until the very last second. This is going to be a heart-pounding battle for survival. Wild boars belong to the Suidae family and are widely distributed across Europe, Asia, North Africa, and North America. They are the ancestors of domesticated pigs and are known for their remarkable ability to survive in the wild. Not only do they thrive in forests and vast fields, but they can also inhabit swamps. Boars are excellent swimmers and often wade through shallow waters to bathe in mud, cooling their bodies while protecting themselves from parasites. These swampy areas provide an abundant food source, including roots, tubers, insects, frogs, fish, and carrion. Dense swamps serve as an ideal hiding place, shielding them from human activity and predators like wolves and bears. However, their excessive reproduction has led to severe ecological damage. We couldn't just stand by and watch, we had to take action immediately. As sunlight filtered through the dense canopy, we embarked on a challenging hunt, this time armed with bows instead of firearms. Following faint tracks imprinted in the soft mud, we spotted a large, healthy boar, weighing around 80 kilograms, foraging obliviously. This was our chance. My partner tightened his grip on the bow. The arrow was in position, only waiting for the perfect moment. Suddenly, the boar sensed something. It raised its head, eyes glinting with suspicion, and then bolted like a whirlwind. The first shot missed. Damn it, it escaped. We continued tracking, determined to seize another opportunity. Patience, that was the key to victory in this battle between man and nature. And after a nerve-wracking pursuit, the beast finally fell. Our hunt didn't stop there. Over the next 2 hours, we secured several more successful kills. Venturing deeper into the swamp, the muddy terrain made maneuvering difficult, especially with a bow. We positioned ourselves high in the trees for better concealment and a perfect vantage point. Below, an automatic feeder had been set up, acting as the perfect bait to lure in unsuspecting wild boars. As expected, it didn't take long before an entire herd arrived, drawn by the scent of food. They rustled through the mud, eagerly searching for scattered corn. I quietly raised my bow, aiming for the largest and strongest one in the group. My focus sharpened as I prepared for the decisive shot. The first arrow flew, but missed. The entire herd panicked and scattered. The dominant boar, the strongest of them all, vanished into the dense brush. Luckily, the smaller ones hadn't gone far. The lingering scent of food tempted them back. This was our second chance. I pulled back the bowstring, eyes locked onto my target, and released. But no! Another miss. Frustration surged through me, but I reminded myself, bow hunting has never been easy. Determined to redeem ourselves, we set out again the next day, ready for another thrilling chase. And there they were, for wild boars, a promising target. This time, our meticulous preparation gave us the upper hand. I took a deep breath, drew back my bowstring, and took aim. The arrow shot like lightning, striking the boar dead center. It crashed violently before collapsing. A surge of triumph coursed through me. The tension and anticipation melted away, replaced by sheer exhilaration. The morning sun cast golden beams over the vast swamp, painting the scene with a raw, untamed beauty. The air was crisp, carrying the earthy scent of damp soil. I locked onto my target, a massive boar digging through the dirt, completely unaware of the danger looming. To maximize our chances, we waded into the swamp, mud sucking at our boots as we moved closer. But the boar, cunning as ever, suddenly changed direction, forcing us to quicken our pace. My heart pounded with every step. Then, a moment of truth. I cut ahead, blocking its path. My grip tightened on the bow, my breath steady. There was no room for hesitation. I aimed at its weak spot and let the arrow fly. A perfect shot. The beast fell instantly. Our specialized vehicle rumbled through the muddy terrain, bringing us deeper into hunting grounds. Without delay, the team set up bait and prepared for an intense showdown. After over an hour of patient waiting, the first boar appeared, moving cautiously toward the trap. Peering through binoculars, we spotted an entire herd following its trail, closing in. My pulse quickened as I gripped my bow, pulling the string back to full draw. The arrow whistled through the air, striking true. Got it. But the hunt wasn't over. Seizing the opportunity, we continued claiming our prizes. Tonight would be a true feast. In the end, a single precise arrow was all it took to bring down the colossal wild boar in an instant. This hunt was both thrilling and exhausting, but we were proud of what we accomplished. Our relentless efforts played a crucial role in managing this destructive wild species. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
Anatolia has a complex terrain with hills and valleys interspersed with swamps and swamps. Before that, we had the opportunity to hunt wild boars in the swampy area in the south of the Anatolian steppe. Because the terrain is swampy and muddy, we used a special vehicle, an airboat. This boat has an engine that is a giant fan that creates a great force to help the boat move on the dry swamp. Thanks to its fast speed, we were able to shoot down many harmful wild boars. However, the hunting trip in the Anatolian steppe brought us more drama and experience. The hunting trip lasted one day, starting before the sun had even appeared. After more than 1 hour of traveling from early morning, at 8 a.m., we encountered a herd of wild boars, all of which were adults. I raised the gun, my heart pounding. Amir whispered, "Shoot the leader or they will scatter." I took a deep breath, held it steady, and pulled the trigger. The explosion echoed throughout the mountains. A wild boar fell with a screech. The remaining herd was startled and scattered. That we followed the trail of the remaining wild boars, but because of the long distance, it was difficult for us to hit these wild boars. However, this herd of wild boars was probably exhausted and could not run far. We chased and shot down a few more wild boars. This increased the number of wild boars, which we shot down to nearly 10. As the sun rose, Amir and I decided to hike up to get a better look at the boar herd. Sure enough, Yusuf radioed that they had spotted a large herd on the slopes of the opposite bank. I aimed carefully, waiting for the moment when the boar stopped and fired. With a single shot, hitting the weak spot, the boar was hit and rolled down the mountainside. In the afternoon, we decided to move south to ambush the wild boars. This area is where wild boars often pass through to get into the farm. Sure enough, it didn't take long to wait. The wild boars appeared. Not letting it escape, Amir quickly shot down the wild boar, knocking it down on the spot. Wow, this wild boar was huge. Can you guess how many kilograms it weighed? The larger the wild boar, the more aggressive it is, and the more destructive it is compared to other wild boars. Therefore, we must hunt down these adult wild boars at all costs. As you can see, the terrain in this mountainous area is rugged, with steep slopes that make it difficult for us to move. The wild boars are very fast, and the bushes provide easy shelter for them. Without observation skills, it is difficult to detect the wild boars. These wild boars relied on the rugged terrain and escaped our repeated shots. "Next time I won't let them escape," said the Emir. Amir and I moved down to a position near the ravine. The soil here is more humid, so the shrubs and grasses grow well. If you don't observe carefully, you might not be able to detect their location. At a distance of hundreds of meters, this wild boar was taken down. To do that, what do you need? Simply a scope attached to a gun. To hunt wild boars, or any wild animal. We need a scope to make the shot more accurate. In the late afternoon, we moved to the foothills near the farm to finish the hunt. Hunting wild boars did not bring us any joy, but because of the surrounding farm, the wild boars needed to be exterminated. This trip is not just a hunt, it is a journey connecting people and mountains, instinct and skill, tradition and modernity. Please like and subscribe to the channel to watch more videos.
"40 wild boars in Morocco were taken down in just 3 hours. You heard that right. What exactly happened to them? Follow us to find out. Today, my hunting group and I headed to Morocco for a new challenge, hunting wild boars. Hunting wild boars here is legal and even encouraged by the government. That's why, during hunting season, many professional groups like ours come here to experience the thrill and break our previous records. After 4 hours of driving on dusty dirt roads, we finally arrived in Morocco. Unlike other places, hunting wild boars here does not require special permits as they are considered agricultural pests. With a clear plan laid out, we began our search for targets. About 10 minutes later, the first prey appeared. I quickly took it down with a single decisive shot. Luck was on our side again when a wild boar appeared at the foot of the mountain. The group got excited and immediately launched an attack. I chose the perfect shooting angle, held the gun steady, and pulled the trigger confidently. However, the boar moved quickly and kept changing directions. It took several shots before I finally brought down the vicious creature. Continuing the hunt, we moved to the mountain peak. There, I spotted a wild boar dashing across my path. Without hesitation, I fired. Despite being wounded, the boar still tried to escape. I chased after it immediately and fired another shot, bringing it down completely. We positioned hunters and our elite hunting dogs across all key locations. So, whenever wild boars appeared, they stood no chance of escaping our line of fire. Thanks to smart tactics, many wild boars were eliminated. From the top of the mountain, my eyes caught sight of a wild boar fleeing from the chasing dogs. I quickly got into position, gently raised my gun, and fired the moment I had a clear shot. With the sound of the shot, the dark figure immediately collapsed, motionless. Not far from the bushes, our clever dogs seemed to have caught a scent. They quickly launched their attack. Just a few firm shots from the barrel, and wild boars dropped to the ground, writhing in pain. The dogs rushed in, pinning down and finishing off the fierce beasts. No time to rest. Another echo of gunfire snapped me back into action. A dark shape charged down, but was immediately stopped by a veteran shooter like me. 3 loud gunshots rang out, ending the prey's escape once and for all. Following the barking of our hounds, we pushed through thick foliage and descended the mountainside. The dogs seemed to have picked up a strong scent and barked furiously. With the prey right in front of us, my friend held his breath, calmly pulled the trigger. At such close range, the brutal beast stood no chance. The next day, our phone notified us of a massive herd of wild boars in a nearby area. We decided to head there by car. It was a vast orchard where we planned a large-scale ambush. Suddenly, wild boars burst out of the bushes, charging across the road while being fiercely chased by our dogs. We kept loading and firing non-stop. Some of them ran incredibly fast, but most couldn't escape our scopes. After dealing with the boars in the orchard, we returned to the mountain area from the previous day to continue our mission. With a larger group and a clearer strategy, we were confident this would be a successful hunt. The entire herd panicked and scattered in all directions. Everything happened fast and fiercely. They kept growling and charging. We stayed fully focused, eyes locked on our moving targets. Gun barrels aimed and ready. The sound of gunfire echoed relentlessly as one by one, the wild boars fell. We brought our trophies back and took a break in the car, sharing our excitement from the hunt while enjoying Morocco's majestic scenery. Morocco, a beautiful land with dramatic hunts. We'll likely return next hunting season to break today's record. What did you think about our hunt? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss our next adventures.
thought I would one day be holding a gun, soaring through the air in a helicopter, chasing giant wild hogs across the vast plains of Texas. And yet, what seemed like an impossible task has become a reality. This has to do with Randy, a college friend of mine. He lives in Texas and was planning a daring wild boar hunt. Wild boars are invasive, reproduce rapidly, destroy crops, attack livestock, and can even be dangerous to humans. So, ranchers have taken a drastic approach to controlling them, hunting them from helicopters. Before boarding the helicopter, I had to attend a 2-hour training session accompanied by Randy and Mike, an experienced hunter, and also our trainer. All right, here we go. Clear! The helicopter quickly rose above the wild grasslands and sparse forests. I observed a herd of wild boars running away because the sound of the helicopter was too loud. When we were at a certain height, Mike signaled us to take aim. The noise of the helicopter drove the wild boars out of their hiding places. We were in charge of destroying them from the air. The sound of the explosion, mixed with the noise of the helicopter, caused a series of wild boars to fall. I realized that wild boars do not always stay still on the ground. They run fast, turn unexpectedly, and are very good at hiding in the bushes. Shooting from the air, while it may seem cool, is actually extremely difficult. That in the vast grasslands, hunting wild boars would be easier because our vision was also clear. As long as we aimed accurately, we could kill many wild boars at once. Herds of wild boars are seen, the helicopter will slow down, giving us an opportunity to shoot them down. Hunting wild boar by helicopter is unlike any other hunt. The helicopter must stay high enough to be safe, but low enough to shoot accurately. The pilot and shooter must work as a team, because one misstep can give the wild boar a chance to escape. No matter how fast the wild boar is, it cannot escape the sweep from the helicopter. With the naked eye, you can see dozens of wild boars lying on the field as the helicopter moves over. There are herds of pigs that are completely destroyed. Not a single one can escape. Many of you may think that the helicopter sweep of feral pigs is cruel, but it would be even crueler if we did not act, because acres of Texas farmers' crops have been destroyed by these feral pigs. If left unchecked, there could be more feral pigs than eager to escape. You see, hunting wild boar with a helicopter is much more efficient than traditional hunting methods. Since the helicopter covers a large area, it also drives wild boars out of their hiding places. The more wild boars that appear, the more wild boars we kill. not only operating in the field, the helicopter also covered a large plateau surrounding the field. Although there were many bushes, the wild boars still had a hard time escaping the pursuit. Over the course of 2 hours, Mike and Randy and I took out dozens of wild pigs. Some were taken down instantly, others required several shots. At times, entire herds were so deeply hidden in the brush that we had to circle them several times to force them out. All the wild boars that were shot down were very large in size. Presumably, they were the lead pigs involved in the farm destruction. Helicopter wild boar usually lasts only 2 hours to ensure the health of the hunters. After landing, they inventory the spoils. Some will be given to local families. Some will be taken to slaughterhouses for meat processing. Our dramatic journey of hunting pigs from the sky has ended. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel to watch more videos.
After a long absence after the campaigns controlled the population, wild boars seem to have retreated from residential areas, no longer causing serious damage as before. However, recently, the traces have begun to reappear. Trampled marks on the fields, plowed land, all show a worrying reality. If no action is taken, they could multiply rapidly and become a bigger threat than ever. Before the situation gets out of control, we need to deploy immediate preventive measures. We quickly planned the trip, assembled a team with all the necessary equipment. Following the newly appeared traces, we moved to an area with towering rocky mountains, densely interwoven with trees. All of this shows that this could be an ideal shelter for wild boars, especially those with giant size and formidable survival instincts. To increase the chances of success, the team cannot lack the presence of well-trained hunting dogs. With a sharp sense of smell and strong hunting instincts, they quickly detected the traces and began to chase. The barking rang out in succession, signaling that the prey had been cornered. The decisive moment had come. As soon as the wild boar rushed out, we quickly opened fire. The bullet hit the vital spot and it collapsed to the ground. The first target had just been taken down, but before we could enjoy the victory, the hound started to bark again. Another wild boar was running away, weaving through the rugged terrain. We immediately got into position, adjusted our posture and aimed carefully. When the prey was just within range, we pulled the trigger decisively. But this wild boar was not easy to take down. It reacted extremely quickly, constantly changing direction, trying to escape the rain of bullets. However, with reasonable tactics and top-notch shooting ability, we persistently adjusted each shot. From the top of the mountain, while observing, suddenly, a black shadow suddenly rushed past us. It was a wild boar running away, just inches away from the target. This was the moment, a decisive pull of the trigger. The bullet flew at a terrifying speed, pinning the wild boar straight. The target was completely defeated. Continuing to follow the trail, we moved to a nearby hill. The terrain here was no longer as rugged as before, allowing us to easily pursue, observe, and approach the target more effectively. A wild boar rushed across the open ground. It seemed to have no idea that we had set up an ambush here. It took the third shot to bring the boar down. Another target down, another record, a surge of excitement. The thrill of the trip shows no signs of abating. We are scanning the trails and slopes where the boars might be hiding. The atmosphere is tense. All senses are on high alert, ready for any encounter. Occasionally, a gunshot rings out in the quiet mountains, signaling that another boar has been taken down. Overcoming the hills, we continue to follow the trail of the wild boars, going deep into a dense forest. The dense canopy and dense bushes created perfect conditions for them to hide and escape. However, with extensive experience and the support of the hunting dogs, we did not let any of them easily disappear from sight. The wild boars ran in all directions, but the encirclement became tighter and tighter. Shots rang continuously, breaking the silence of the forest. After a dramatic chase and continuous accurate shots, the wild boars fell one by one. Finally, after many efforts, 5 targets were taken down. It is soon afternoon, signaling the end of the day. But the hunt is not over yet. We spent most of our last few minutes trying to find and take down as many boars as possible before returning. From a vantage point, when the wild boars appeared in sight, each shot rang out crisply. Fast and decisive, leaving the wild boars no time to react. The hunt lasted until evening. Looking back at the spoils, we were all very satisfied. A dramatic day of hunting had ended, marking a campaign that was more successful than expected. Did you feel excited about today's trip? Leave your comments in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to watch more dramatic hunts.
was late at night. Cold winds blew through the deserted fields outside the town, bringing with them a cold and wild feeling. Under the dim moonlight, Oliver and I picked up our bags, ready for a challenging wild boar hunt. We had hunted together at night many times, and they were all wonderful experiences. This trip required not only courage, but also vigilance and survival instinct. If you want to know what interesting things will happen, follow us now. Just as we were about to set off, a bold idea suddenly popped into my head. I wanted to use my own body to lure the wild boars closer. It sounded crazy. Oliver looked at me with a mixture of surprise and concern when I shared this idea. With the desire to conquer, I convinced my companion to carry out the plan. I sat quietly by the dense bushes, a loaded gun in my hand, my eyes tensely watching every movement. From a distance, the wild boars began to move, as if they had sense of a presence. Their dark skin was mottled with color, blending perfectly with the darkness. They moved towards in a herd, wariness unable to hide their curiosity. I could hear the growls coming from their throats, the characteristic sound of wild boars cautiously exploring their surroundings. A few minutes later, the wild boars appeared in front of me, very close, sharp fangs glinting in the moonlight, ready to tear apart anything that stood in their way. They stood there and looked at me, their small but bright eyes. My mind was struggling between two thoughts. Should I shoot immediately or let them come even closer? Then the wild boars faced the muzzle of my gun. Seizing the opportunity, I shot down the first one. The sound was as clean as the bullet cutting through the air. Immediately after, I adjusted my gun to fire a second shot before the other wild boars could run away. Our risky game ended like that. The result was the first two wild boars lying at our feet. After a few tense moments, we decided to walk along the grasslands to find the wild boars. In the quiet night, the sound of wild boars echoed. A wild boar with a distinctive spotted coat appeared. As the boar moved out of the bushes, its eyes were alert, and its speed was also relatively fast. Oliver started his mischievous prank again, calling the boar several times in a row. A strange sound suddenly rang out, attracting its attention. It stood still to observe, but that was also an opportunity for Oliver to shoot. So I shot to the head finished of the wild boar. It struggled for a while and then lay still, so we had another great trophy. Immediately after that, we moved to a position next to a pond. There would definitely be wild boars coming here to drink water, but this was also an ideal ambush location. As expected, a wild boar that had probably just finished drinking water was leisurely returning to the field. As it passed in front of me, I immediately opened fire to take it down. The fatal shot knocked the boar down. I had no chance to fire back. Tonight, we had a few trophies, all of them extremely large. However, Oliver said he wanted to stop by his family's cow farm nearby. That's why we appeared here, next to the cows. Not only that, mixed with the cows, we also discovered boars rummaging through leftovers. Boars with their huge size, thick fur and sharp eyes didn't care much about our presence, even when I held a gun and stood right next to them. Until a soul discovered us, it seemed to have realized the danger. It continuously let out a warning growl, but it was too late. It had already entered my sights. As soon as it moved to an open space, I immediately opened fire and shot it down. This farm, wild boars were ramaging. We didn't say anything. Many people might mistake this for a herd of pigs raised on the farm. If you witness the terrible destruction when they ploughed up the whole ground, you will understand why we had to hunt these pigs. In the midst of the wild boar noise, I spied another big fat boar. It was running fast across the grass, and it seemed to have sensed the danger as well. As I ran back and forth in panic, I immediately took the opportunity to shoot. The headshot caused it to collapse and struggled with painful cries before it became completely still. Another big boar. It seemed that all the boars in the area were this colour. The game wasn't over yet, as Oliver and I had some unexpected mischief. We placed a loudspeaker that emitted a high-pitched screech right at the location where the boar had been shot. Soon the whole herd was attracted, and they quickly ran towards the screech. When the herd reached the top of the hill, they recognized the danger sign. Immediately, the herd turned around and ran away. Although the original plan didn't really work, I still managed to shoot and kill a boar when it stopped to observe. After midnight, we had to end the hunt because we had shot a lot of wild boars today. And of course, I will need some time to process these trophies. Thank you for following our journey. Please share your opinions in the comments. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support the channel.
The temperature in the forest was steadily dropping, snow was falling, and the biting cold wind seemed to cut through the skin, as if trying to block our steps. But no one gave up, because this was one of the journeys we had been looking forward to most of the year, the challenging winter wild boar hunt. Our hunting team is very large, with dozens of people. Most are locals, and a few come from other places. Our common goal is to hunt as many wild boars as possible. However, operating on thick snow during winter is not easy. Wild boars in Canada this season are very alert and cautious, slower, but more ferocious and tougher than ever before. Every step in the snow made a crisp crackling sound. We tried not to make loud noises. As we moved, we searched for wild boar tracks. We discovered deep footprints in snow, larger than an adult's palm, definitely a herd of wild boars. I looked up toward the distance. In the shadow of the trees, I heard dry branches snap. Many large, dark shapes slowly appeared. My heart pounded. They were a herd of dozens of wild boars, busily foraging, seemingly unaware of the approaching danger. We quietly moved closer to the herd's position, trying not to make a sound. Once in a safe spot, we gripped our guns tightly and aimed carefully at the vital points to take down the prey as quickly as possible. A gunshot echoed through the quiet forest. The bullet struck its body. The boar collapsed into snow, struggling. Not just one wild boar fell, but two one-eye shot and another Paul took down. Around noon, we moved up a mountain. Here we found some herds of wild boars feeding, small groups of about 3 to 5 wild boars, some larger groups. We focused on locating them through the scope, aiming for the head or chest of the animal, as that would kill it the fastest. On the high hill, gunshots rang out continuously. Probably hearing the gunfire, wild boars scattered and ran deeper into the forest. By early afternoon, Team 3 reported that they spotted a mature herd of wild boars moving southward in the forest. If we didn't keep up, we would lose their trail. We immediately tightened our formation and gave chase. The snow grew thicker, and the wind whipped against our faces like knives. Falling snow limited our visibility, making it difficult to hit the target. During the wild boar hunt, in the snowy forest, visibility and experience are the most important factors. You can miss giant prey and even face hidden dangers without experience and skills. We are lucky to have learned from experienced hunters in the area, so every hunt is carefully prepared. After the wild boars are hunted, we gather and transport them to the collection point. Winter helps preserve the meat longer, so most of it is sent to processing plants. The boar meat is processed into wild game meat and consumed locally. The winter wild boar hunt in Canada is not for the faint-hearted. Snow, cold, and wild animals with killer instincts demand absolute precision, every shot, every step. But it is precisely those heart-pounding moments that make us feel truly alive, amid the harsh nature, amid survival challenges. Today's video ends here. How do you feel about today's video? We hope it brought you an interesting topic. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.